1. Introduction. Many people think about love. They think it is always nice and happy, maybe like the stories in books or movies. Love often seems sweet and good, but love is not always like this. My story is not like those happy stories. My story is very different. It is a dark story. It shows that sometimes things that look wonderful are not wonderful at all. It tells about a time that was very difficult for me. This story is about how a dream can become something scary. My name is Claire. I am 22 years old. Before things changed, my life was quiet and simple. I lived with my mother. We had a small home, an apartment in the town. It was not big, but it was our home. Life was normal. Every day, I went to work. I worked in a flower shop. I liked my job. I loved the flowers, their colors, and their nice smell. Working there made me feel calm. It was a peaceful job in a quiet town. My days were usually the same, but I did not mind. I felt safe in my small world. My life was okay, but I often dreamed about the future. Like many young women, I dreamed about love. I wanted to find someone special, someone kind and good. Maybe someone like the princes in the old fairy tales I read as a child. I hoped for a happy life with a person who would love me very much. I thought about this often while I arranged the flowers in the shop. It was a simple dream for a simple life. I believed true love was possible and waited for it patiently. Then everything started to change. I met a man. His name was Ethan. When I first met him, he seemed like the perfect man. He looked very kind. He was handsome and he had money. He seemed like the answer to my dreams. I thought my fairy tale was starting. I believed he was the good person I was waiting for. I thought he would bring me happiness. But I was very wrong. My dream became something else. It became dark and frightening. This story explains what happened after I met Ethan. It is important to know that sometimes a nice face can hide something very different behind it. This is how my difficult journey began, starting from a simple life and moving towards a dark experience. 2. A nice man. It was a very bad night. Rain was falling hard. I was driving home from the flower shop in my old car. Suddenly, the car stopped. It did not move. I was alone on a dark road. The rain made me wet and cold. I felt sad and a little scared. What could I do? Then a big, expensive car stopped behind me. A man got out. He had an umbrella. He walked to my car window. "Do you need help?" he asked. His voice was kind. He had a nice smile. This man was Ethan. Ethan looked at my car engine. He tried to fix it, but it was too old. The engine did not start. "I cannot fix it now," he said, "but I can take you home. It is raining too much." I felt happy that he offered help. He seemed like a very nice person. I got into his beautiful car. It was warm and dry inside. The seats were soft leather. It smelled nice. Ethan drove carefully. We started to talk. He asked me about my job at the flower shop. He asked about my life. I told him about my small apartment and my dreams. He listened very well. He did not interrupt me. He seemed very interested in me. He was handsome. He looked rich because his car was very expensive. He was polite and smart. I thought he was wonderful. He seemed like the perfect man I dreamed about. After that night, Ethan called me. He asked me to go out with him. I said yes. That was the start. We began to date. Our first dates were lovely. Ethan always brought me beautiful flowers, usually red roses. He knew I worked in a flower shop, but he still gave me flowers. It made me feel special. He took me to very nice restaurants. The food was always amazing. These places were expensive, not like the places I usually went to. Ethan always listened when I talked. He asked me questions about my day, my thoughts, and my feelings. He remembered small things I told him. He made me feel important. He made me feel like a princess in a story. When I was with him, I felt happy and safe. He was always kind. He always smiled. He was gentle and polite. Everything about him seemed perfect. I started to like him very much. I thought my dream of finding true love was coming true. He was a very nice man, or so I thought at that time. 3. Fast love. Ethan and Claire spent more time together after their first dates. Ethan showed Claire a lot of attention. He often brought her beautiful red roses at the flower shop where she worked. He took her to expensive restaurants for dinner. Claire never went to places like that before. Ethan always listened when she talked about her day or her simple dreams. He made her feel very important. Claire felt like she was living in a fairy tale. She felt happy and truly special, maybe for the first time in her life. She thought Ethan was wonderful and kind. He seemed like the perfect man she always hoped to meet. She felt very lucky. One evening, Claire took Ethan to her small apartment to meet her mother. Claire was excited for her mother to meet this amazing man. Her mother was polite to Ethan. She smiled and talked with him. But later, when Ethan left, her mother looked worried. She took Claire's hands. "Claire, listen to me," she said softly. "Ethan seems very nice. He is handsome and rich, but he seems too perfect. Be careful, my dear. Something feels wrong about him." Claire felt a little sad hearing this. She loved her mother, but she thought her mother did not understand Ethan. Claire was young and felt she was deeply in love. She believed Ethan was different. She did not listen to her mother's warning. She thought her mother was just being too careful. Their relationship moved very quickly. Ethan always said how much he loved Claire. He told her she was beautiful and kind. After only 3 months of knowing each other, Ethan asked Claire a very important question. One evening, during a special dinner, he got down on one knee. He opened a small black box. Inside was a big, shiny diamond ring. It sparkled under the restaurant lights. "Claire," he said, looking into her eyes, "will you marry me?" Claire was completely surprised. 3 months was a very short time. Everything was happening so fast. Her heart beat quickly. But she looked at Ethan's kind face. She remembered how happy he made her feel. She thought about their future together. She smiled, tears of happiness in her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I will marry you." Ethan put the beautiful ring on her finger. Claire felt like the luckiest woman in the world. She could not wait to start her new life with him. The big day, the wedding day, arrived quickly. It felt like a dream, just like Claire always wanted. The sun was shining and the sky was blue. The place for the wedding was very beautiful, with many white flowers everywhere. Claire wore a long white dress. It felt soft and special. She looked in the mirror and saw a happy bride. Ethan looked handsome in his black suit. He smiled at her when she walked towards him. Everything seemed perfect, like a page from a fairy tale book. Many people came to the wedding. Claire's mother was there. She looked proud but still a little worried in her eyes. Claire's friends from the flower shop were there too, happy for her. Ethan's family and friends were also present. They all looked rich and important. Everyone smiled and clapped when Claire and Ethan promised to be husband and wife. At the party after the ceremony, people ate good food and drank nice drinks. Music played softly, and some couples danced. Friends came to Claire and Ethan and said kind things. "You look so happy together," one friend said. "You are a perfect couple," another added. Claire felt full of joy. She believed this was the start of a wonderful new life. She held Ethan's hand tightly and smiled. He smiled back, but sometimes his eyes looked a little far away. Claire didn't think much about it then. She was too happy on her special day. Later that night, they went to a big, expensive hotel room for their first night as husband and wife. The room had large windows and soft lights. It was very luxurious. Claire felt happy, but also tired after the long, exciting day. She thought they would talk about their lovely wedding or their plans for the future. But Ethan was different now. When they were finally alone in the quiet room, he stopped smiling. He became very quiet and serious. He did not look at her with the usual warm eyes. His eyes looked cold, like ice. Claire felt a strange, uncomfortable feeling in her stomach. This was not the same Ethan she knew from their dates. He did not say much at first. He just sat on the edge of the large, soft bed and watched her move around the room. Claire felt nervous under his gaze. Why was he looking at her like that? She asked him softly, "Is everything okay, Ethan?" He didn't answer immediately. He just continued to look at her with that cold expression. Then he spoke. His voice was low and quiet, not like his usual charming voice. "You're mine now, Claire," he said slowly, his voice flat. "Only mine." The words were simple, but the way he said them sounded strange and hard. A cold feeling went through Claire's body. She felt scared for the first time since meeting him. Why did he say that? And why did he sound so serious, so possessive? She tried to push the feeling away. She told herself it was nothing important. Maybe he was just tired from the big day. Yes, that must be it. They were both very tired. But deep inside her heart, a small seed of fear started to grow. The perfect day ended with a confusing feeling that something was not right. 5. A locked room. After the wedding, I moved into Ethan's house. It was a very big house, and it looked beautiful from the outside. There were many rooms and nice furniture. But soon, it did not feel like a happy home. It started to feel like a prison. Ethan changed a lot after our wedding day. He was not the kind, smiling man I met. He became quiet and watchful. His eyes followed me everywhere I went in the house. He wanted to know where I was all the time. If I wanted to go out, even just to the garden, he asked many questions. Sometimes he did not let me go out alone. He started to look at my phone messages. He never hit me, but his control made me feel very heavy inside. I felt trapped and alone in the big house. I was his wife, but I started to feel scared of him. I did not know what to do. One week, Ethan told me he had to go away for work. It was for 3 days. Before he left, he looked at me with his cold eyes. "Stay inside the house, Claire," he said. "Wait for me here." When his car drove away, the house was very quiet. It felt strange to be alone. For a moment, I did not feel scared. I felt a little brave. I decided to walk around the house. I went into rooms I did not usually use. In a quiet hallway upstairs, I saw a door. I never noticed it before. I tried to open it, but it was locked. Why was there a locked room in the house? I felt curious. I went downstairs to Ethan's office. I looked inside his big wooden desk. There were many papers. In the back of a drawer, hidden under some old letters, I found a small key. It looked old. My heart started to beat fast. Was this the key for the locked door? I took the key and went back upstairs. My hand was shaking a little when I put the key in the lock. It turned. The door opened with a small click. I pushed the door open slowly. The room inside was dark. It smelled old and dusty. There was only one small window, covered with dirt. It was hard to see clearly, but I saw photos on the walls. There were many photos. They were all pictures of a woman. I looked closer. She had dark hair like my hair. She had green eyes like my eyes. Her face looked just like mine. It was like looking at myself in a mirror, but I knew it was not me. Who was this woman? Why did Ethan have so many photos of her hidden in a locked room? A cold feeling went through me. I felt confused and very worried. 6. A name from the past. Life in Ethan's big house felt lonely and strange. Claire remembered the locked room and the photos of the woman who looked like her. Who was she? Why did Ethan keep her picture? Claire felt confused and a little afraid. One afternoon, Ethan was busy with work calls. He seemed calmer than usual. He said Claire could go to the small shop near their house. She needed to buy some milk and bread. Claire felt happy to leave the house, even for a short time. The shop was small and quiet. It sold everyday things like food, drinks, and newspapers. Claire picked up the milk and bread and went to pay. As she waited, she felt someone looking at her. She turned around. An older woman was standing behind her in the line. The woman's eyes were wide open. She looked very surprised. She took a quick breath. "Oh dear," the woman whispered. Her voice was soft. "You look so much like her." Claire felt strange. "Like who?" she asked politely. The woman looked around the shop. She seemed nervous to talk. "I knew Ethan a long time ago," she said, speaking quietly now. "You look just like Sophie." Claire's heart started beating faster. "Sophie?" she asked. "Who is Sophie?" The woman leaned a little closer. "Sophie was Ethan's first wife," she explained. "His wife before you." Claire felt a shock go through her body. Ethan had another wife before. He never told her that. Why did he keep it a secret? "What happened to her?" Claire asked. Her voice was shaking a little. The woman looked sad. "Nobody really knows," she said. "She disappeared about 2 years ago. One day she was here, the next day she was gone. It was very mysterious. People talked about it for a long time." Claire paid for her milk and bread quickly. Her hands were cold. She said goodbye to the woman and left the shop fast. Outside, the sun was shining, but Claire felt cold inside. Ethan had a first wife. Her name was Sophie. She looked just like Claire. And she disappeared. Why did Ethan have photos of her hidden in a locked room? Why did he never speak about her? Claire walked back to the big house. It did not feel like home. It felt like a dangerous place. She thought about the woman in the photos again. Sophie. Now she had a name from the past. And a terrible feeling started to grow in Claire's heart. She was very, very scared. 7 terrible truths. Claire felt cold after hearing about Sophie. She needed to ask Ethan. That night, when he came home, she tried to be calm. Her hands were shaking a little. "Ethan," she started, her voice quiet. "Who is Sophie?" Ethan's face changed. It became hard like stone. His eyes looked very dark and full of anger. He stood up very fast from his chair. "Don't say that name," he shouted loudly. His voice was scary. Claire had never heard him shout like that before. "You must forget that name. Do not talk about her again." Claire moved back. She felt very, very afraid now. She knew the woman in the shop was right. Something was terribly wrong with Ethan. He was hiding something bad. Claire could not sleep well after that night. She had bad dreams. She kept thinking about the photos in the locked room and the name Sophie. She knew she had to find out more. She had to know the truth. She waited for Ethan to leave the house again for work. When the house was quiet and empty, she felt a little brave. Her heart was beating fast, but she went back to the hallway with the locked door. She used the small key again and opened it. The dusty room felt colder this time. Claire looked around carefully. She remembered the woman in the shop said Sophie disappeared 2 years ago. Where did she go? Claire looked at the floor. She noticed a wooden board that looked loose. She pulled it up carefully. Under the board, hidden away, was a small, old book. It was a diary. On the first page, it said Sophie's diary. Claire's hands shook as she opened the book. She started to read Sophie's words. Sophie wrote about Ethan. She wrote about his anger. She wrote about how he watched her all the time. One page said, "He locked me in this room today. He said I was bad." Another page said, "He tells me I belong only to him. He says it forever. I am so scared of him. He is not like other people." Claire read more and more. Sophie wrote about being trapped. She wrote about Ethan's cold eyes and his controlling words. Ethan was cruel. He was dangerous. Claire felt sick. She finally understood. The photos, the locked room, Ethan's anger, it was all true. Sophie did not just disappear. Ethan hurt her. Claire realized she was in the same situation now. Ethan chose her because she looked like Sophie. He wanted to control her, just like he controlled Sophie. She was living with a monster. She had to escape. She had to get away from Ethan before she disappeared too. 8. Running away. I needed to escape. I could not stay in that house. Inside, I felt cold and afraid, but I showed Ethan a smile. I acted like everything was normal. I made a secret plan. Ethan was often busy with work calls. One day, when he was in his office, I took out an old phone I kept hidden. I called my mother. My voice was quiet. "Mom, I need your help," I whispered. "Ethan is dangerous. I must leave him." My mother was very worried, but she listened. We decided she would come for dinner the next Sunday. While Ethan was not looking, I would run outside. She would wait for me in her car near the gate. But my plan did not happen. The day before Sunday, Ethan found Sophie's diary. He came into the living room. He held the small book. His face was dark with anger. "You went into the room again? You read this," he shouted. He grabbed my arm very hard. It hurt. He pulled me down the hallway to the secret room. He pushed me inside. The door closed with a loud sound. He locked it. "You will stay here," he yelled through the wood. "You will learn." I was alone in the dark, dusty room. I felt just like Sophie must have felt. I sat on the cold floor and cried. I was so scared. But then a small feeling of strength came. I did not want to end like Sophie. I had to be smart. I went to the door and knocked. "Ethan." I called. I tried to make my voice sound sad and sorry. "Please let me out. I was wrong. I was scared. I understand now. I love you, Ethan. Please forgive me." I waited. For a long time there was no sound. Then I heard the key turn. The lock clicked. The door opened a little bit. Ethan looked at me. His eyes were hard. Near the door, I saw a heavy glass bottle on a table. Quickly, I picked it up. I hit Ethan on the side of his head. He made a noise and fell back. I did not stop. I ran out of the room. I ran through the house and out the front door. My mother was there. Her little car was waiting. I jumped inside. "Go, Mom, go," I shouted. My mother drove away fast. I looked behind us. Ethan was running out of the house. He got into his big, fast car. He started to follow us. His car came closer and closer. My mother's hands shook on the steering wheel. It was like a bad dream. Then Ethan tried to drive past us on a sharp turn in the road. He drove too fast. He lost control of his car. It went off the road and hit a big tree. There was a loud crash. My mother stopped our car. We saw smoke coming from Ethan's car. Soon we heard sirens. Police cars and an ambulance arrived. They helped Ethan. He was hurt, but he was alive. The police officers talked to me. I told them everything. They found Sophie's diary in the house. They arrested Ethan. Now I am safe. I live with my mother again. I am free. Sometimes I think about Ethan's nice smile when I first met him. It looked so kind. But behind the smile, there was darkness. This experience taught me something important. Things are not always what they look like. True love does not hurt or control. It makes you feel safe, not scared. I escaped the monster. I survived.